Hello, this is Cecil Sunk here from Hotkeyit.com, and I'm going to show you guys a build that's actually very good for all levels of play for PvZ, and it's the fast third build. Fast third build is good whenever you see a Zerg opponent take their nat and then their third very quickly. You don't want to do it if they stay on 2 base, because if they're on 2 base that means they're going to have a larger army, possibly of higher tech than just roaches, a lot sooner than as if they were going to take a fast third base. Whenever a Zerg takes a fast 3 base, they're very, very likely to want to drone really, really hard, so you can take advantage of their droning time and get up a third of your own. And then you can actually defend even the Roach Max popularized by Stefano with a utilization of choke points and SimCity with gateways, perhaps here. You also want to have +2 blink, because +2 stalkers kill roaches very quickly. And then you have a robotics facility for observers, perhaps immortals if you want, but you're mainly just going to be using blink, guardian shield, force fields to defend what you're most likely going to see, which is a lot of roaches. So let's dive into the build. Whenever you see a pool that goes down at about, like, say 15 drones or so, you can actually go Nexus first, especially if there's no Vespene gas. And then you can get a Forge right after the Nexus, so you can actually go 17 Nexus, Forge, and then that'll let your cannon finish right about as the Lings are here, coming across the map. Which is exactly what I'm going to do. Trying to block the hatch is always good. I take note of the pool, and I actually got a Nexus, and then a Forge right after the Nexus. I got it on 16. Generally, you want to get it on... Oh, I got it on... No, 17. I was looking at the wrong supply. And then, after you get your Nexus and a Forge, you order one more probe for 18 out of 18. And then, your second pylon generally wants to be placed right here on the top of your ramp. That way, you can put cannons and your cybernetics core here if you need to, which just helps defend with all-ins. With a 3 base Zerg, like a fast 3 hatches, the most common all-in you'll see is Ling and Baneling. So if you could put buildings up here and form a choke up here, your low sentry count will be really, really, like, it'll help your low sentry count out a lot to have a choke here with some buildings. So try to get the second pylon right here. Third pylon generally goes towards the Nexus, so you can place stuff around your Nexus, cannons, and your mineral line if you need to. But those are all pretty minor details. What you really want to have down is when to put your Nexus, Forge, Gateway, and then after you get your Gateway down, you take both of your assimilators. That way you can have some Vespene for when your Cybercore finishes. You want your Cybercore to go down right as the Gateway finishes, so that way you can start Warp Gate tech and climb the tech ladder as fast as you can. Once this Nexus finishes, you're going to want to put a ton of Chrono Boost onto both of your Nexuses, which you can see I'm doing now. You can Chrono Boost the core a couple times as well, but most of your Chrono Boost you're going to want on your Nexuses. Now, right at about 6 minutes, you're going to want to place a pylon at your third base. This pylon will let you get up a couple cannons, a gateway wall, and your Nexus. It'll all be very safe, mostly because of the cannons and your early sentry count. The reason why taking a quick Nexus here works is because you're spending all your minerals on a Nexus, pylons, cannons, gateways, and that way you'll have a bunch of Vespene left over, and you can dump that Vespene into sentries, which the earlier you get them, the better, because they can gather energy. So both of those things tie in really well together and how you spend your resources. Taking a look at the Zerg, the production tab, they're just building queens and drones right now, lots of drones. And you're basically doing the same thing, making lots of economy as well. You only want to take these geysers as your natural mineral line saturates. And I got one and then the other kind of like stagger got them. You can get them both at the same time, just as long as you have about this many, like about 2 lines of probes on your natural, then you can take your geysers. If you take it earlier than that, you'll be pulling guys off of your minerals, and you'll actually cut into your mineral income. That way it'll be much harder to get this heavy mineral requirement of all these gateways cannons up. So don't get these early. That's a really huge mistake most players make with the Forge Fast Expand. I ordered +1 right as I was right when I had the resources to order it. So I believe I ordered, always order with Warp Gate first, and then the next 100 gas you just put into your forge for +1. So now you can see as these cannons and Nexus is finishing up, and I have about 18, I need a couple more probes here, but once you have 2 full lines of probes and then 2 more on your mineral line, you can go ahead and then rally all your Nexuses onto your third. And that's a total of 18 probes on the minerals. Once your Nexus at your third finishes is the queue for a Twilight Council, and actually I have 1 gate right now. These ones are just finishing up. So you actually take a third, start taking your third off of 1 gateway. And again, the reason this is safe is because the Zerg is droning on 3 bases. If they weren't droning on 3 bases, they'd have 2 bases, and that means you'd have to use a different build. But since this is the most common opening, 3 hatch, I'm going to be showing you guys the fast third. Okay, so this Twilight Council is critical. You don't want it to be late. You need it for 2 things, blink and +2 attack. Immediately order blink and immediately order +2 attack. After you order your blink and your +2 attack, you want to chrono boost those out extremely hard so that you can have those to actually use in defense against the inevitable roach ball, which is oh so common currently. Stop producing probes once you have about 18, 2 full lines, and 2 more on the third at your naturals mineral line. Of course, saturate the geysers as well. And with your robo, you want to chrono boost out a quick observer, which I should actually have on this side of the map. And what your quick observer is going to do right when your robo finishes. Oh, and you actually take your robo right after you place your Twilight Council and after you order blink and +2 attack. Then you place your robo down. Chrono boost out an observer. You want to see his tech. Make sure he doesn't have a Spire or a Hydralisk Den. If he has a Hydralisk Den and a Roach Warren, you're going to want to get a support bay and another robo so that we can go 2 robo Colossus. Then you can just crush his Hydralisk Roach army and win the game pretty easily. If it's a Spire, you're going to want a lot more Blink Stalkers, and then you get a Stargate for Phoenix if you like, or a Temple Archives for Storm, whichever one you prefer more. And then of course cannons at your flanks. Since my army is on this portion of the map, my flank is going to be my main. I'd put a lot of cannons in my main if there were a Spire somewhere on the map. But of course, I can see that there is no Spire, so I go ahead and just start an Immortal, and I warp in a whole lot of Stalkers and Sentries. So here's the big Roach swell. During the engagement, it's very critical to try to get the opponent to engage you through your choke. I'm actually kind of poking out of my choke just to sort of lure him in. I'm not going to wander out in the open and engage and try to lay down a gigantic wall of force fields. You want to try to conserve your force fields. If he doesn't move in with his roaches into your base, then he's stuck with a bunch of roaches, and then you can continue to climb the tech tree, and you'll be in a fine position. He has to make use of these roaches. So think of it that way, and try to get him to engage you in a favorable position. 3 force fields for this little chunk of army is going to be an excellent trade, because I'm not losing anything. These centers are full on energy, and if I spend a couple force fields, then I can actually regenerate some energy, and it won't cost much. Like, these force fields are basically free for me. So the key is to try to take little pockets of units, but make sure they're small enough to where you don't lose anything, if you can avoid it. And it should be pretty easy with Blink, because easy to potentially not lose anything, because you can pull your sentries back and blink your stalkers back against a little chunk of units. And then this is really the only mistake I made this game. Other than I probably should have sent a couple more chrono boosts on this so that it would have been completed. You want +2 to finish by 11 minutes and 30 seconds. If your +2 hasn't finished by then, it's a little too slow. So the mistake was I needed 1 more sentry over here so I could put 2 force fields down. Actually, I can only afford 1 force field. And then I let a little too many roaches up the ramp, but that's a pretty minor mistake. And doesn't cost me a whole lot. So again, try not to lose anything. My goal here with these force fields It's just allow little pockets of units forward so that I don't lose any of my own units. Spending an extra force field to trap a roach. It's good to always put some forward force fields down past your second layer, or past your first layer, so you can trap a few roaches in a little pocket. So now his roach aggression has utterly failed, and I'm going to just follow it up with Colossus, or actually Dark Templar and Immortals, that's right. I'm just going to chrono boost out a lot of Immortals because I see with my Observer he has no other tech. I actually see he has no detection either because my Observer isn't being shot at. So I opt for Dark Templar. I'm going to put Dark Templar into each base to end the game, and then just double chrono boosting out Immortals to take care of these roaches really, really easily. Taking my fourth as well. Dark Templar are going to be on the map in any moment. Here they are. There's one. There's the other ones. And these will just end the game. Dark Templar at this point in the game, if there's no detection, is a very, very easy way to just get a free win, basically. And even if my Dark Templar hadn't done much damage, he wouldn't be able to take care of all of these Immortals and Blinkstalkers with upgraded attack if there was no other tech, because his roach aggression failed so poorly, his tech was delayed. And that's it for the fast third. Quick note about this SimCity: you want to have gateways in the front, cannons, a layer of cannons, and then pylons. That's like the wall of stuff that you should make. Try to do it at your nat too if you can, but it's generally used on the third. And that's that. If you have any questions about the fast third, please do ask me on the Hotkeyit forums, and I hope you enjoyed the video.